not either.
I'm
That's
tempted to
hurtful.
try a. You think the Delta Point is the way to go?
That's what everyone says. But I mean,
I
the
don't.
Delta Point are the ones that I have. They're the ones that Kim uses. I think they're okay. The Romeo ones I think are fairly good. I think the Romeo 3s break a lot from what I've heard. I don't know. Anyway, welcome to Practical Shooting After Dark, your favorite shooting podcast, where Alex Burdott, sponsored shooter, likes to shit on people's dots. Son of a bitch. How dare you?
Hey, I want to try it, so that's
Joining
why
me
I'm
tonight
asking.
from Canada, Mr. Burdott.
Yeah. Yes, that's me.
From, well, I don't know, from kind of from the middle part of the U.S., Mr. Joel Park.
Hello.
Yes. All right, boys, you know the rules. Everybody comes here with a topic. You're going to show and they're going to tell about something. Talk about this week in shooting, something you're working on with your shooting. Or you could talk about something that triggers you. You know? Whatever you're into. Who'd like to go first?
I can go first.
You can nominate me if you want. I don't care. But
Yeah,
yes,
I'll take one for the team.
You got you will. You're a good wingman like that. Take you to the bar. Sorry, dude.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, it's a show and tell again.
Yes.
It's about the grip I've been trying on. So for people listening, I've been shooting a lot the aluminum extreme Temfolio grips, the really
Hold
thin
on.
one that people hate.
We have to explain some weirdness for the American audience and well, I think maybe the international audience too, about because this affects some choices you've made, right?
What do you mean?
Small frame,
Oh,
large
yeah, small
frame.
frame and large frames.
Yes.
So, okay, in Canada, we're like pretty much like the rest of the world except the US because you guys are just America. And you guys have large frame handgun Temfolios mostly.
Uh-huh.
And we only have pretty much small frames, which the grip, they don't fit each other. Like they
But the
don't go.
guns are like, but I have larger hands, so the large frame's better, right?
That's what you think.
Yes, but okay, so
It's
there's
pretty much
large
the same
frame
thing,
and
right?
there's small frame, and the external dimensions are very similar between the two.
Yeah,
The difference is the
but
magazines they take. Okay, so you guys
exactly.
exclusively have small frame, basically, and we
Yep,
basically exclusively have large frame
large
in the
frames.
U.S., which
Yep,
means large frame grips don't work for you. So the Henning grips that I run, those are not an option for
exactly.
you. Okay,
Exactly.
now we're caught
I've
up.
been wanting to try these for a long time. The wood grip are just too thick for me,
Mm-hmm.
and the small. I mean, I got used to the extreme grips, the
Oh,
really
okay,
thin
so
ones.
just again, so people understand, the wood grips that come on the Tanfolios,
Yep.
they're fairly thick. They're
Yeah.
appropriate for large size male hands.
Which is not mine.
That would not be you.
It's nope.
And then
So
the
for
other
me,
option is the Eric Raffel grips, which are very,
which
very
is like
thin, and they're appropriate
yep,
for your, I would say, small or medium small hands.
small hands. Then if you have like just medium-sized hand, you'll just feel a gap in between your hand and the gun. Just that's just how it is. So I've been trying different grips from they had like Tempolio had like some other grips that I've tried but were a little too thick again. But these ones they came out about last year and I just tried them on like recently is the Unica, which is Temfolio's newest type of competition parts brand. And they've come up with a aluminum like mid-size, and I would pretty much compare them to very close to the Henning ones. And seriously, first impression, I really like them. They're just enough thick. They're very comfortable. They feel the hand really good. I always put some grip tape on this one just because I want more friction. But yeah, been training with them for
Ribbed for your pleasure, huh?
yes, friction. You know
Come
me.
on, Joel, that was hilarious.
Yeah.
It was a condom joke. You get it?
Yes.
Son of a
Thank you for
bitch.
explaining it.
Son
Yes.
of a bitch.
All right, but anyways, yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna be switching like 100% to them. Right now, I'm still rocking the aluminum like really thin grip. Uh, but probably in the off season I'll be switching to those and probably not look back. So yeah, liking it.
All right. So what did you really learn here that we would apply to all shooters about selecting the right grip for you?
Oh, about better grip, better control of the gun, I would say.
Yeah.
Like it does make a difference. Like you kind of get used to the grip you have anyways, but when you try a grip that really fits your hand, it's just you know it. It feels good, it feels right, and it needs to kind of feel the whole hand when you
Yeah.
grip it.
Well,
Having like empty spaces, that sucks. It's just more space for the gun to go. So
yeah, I come I come at this from a perspective where I watch a lot of people shoot, and I would say it would shock you guys to know how many people pay to turn up to a class, and they have like their gun and their hand, the way they fit together is fucked. You know what I mean? Like it's a dude with massive hands shooting like a Q5 match, like Juan Sacaz, with like no
yeah,
grip tape to build it up or anything. Or it's a guy with massive hands shooting a Shadow 2 with the really thin factory grips on it. Or it's a dude with tiny hands, or let's say a chick with tiny hands shooting a large frame Tanfolio with the factory wood grips with some grip tape on top of that, and she can't reach the trigger for the double action mode.
yep,
Like, you would be fucking blown away how many people don't have their gun size to fit their hand.
yeah. Because usually a lot of people they think, oh, it's the extreme grip or whatever that grip that Henning does, and they're expensive. They must be
Yeah.
better. But actually, it's just no. It needs to fit you.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if somebody sees, like, I have the Henning grips on my guns, and if somebody's like sees that and then they just buy the Henning grips, assuming that that's better, like, that's not why I have them. Like, yeah, they're great, and yeah, I like Henning, and yeah, Henning is cool, and whatever, but I have them because they are sized to fit my hands. If I had smaller hands, I would use the Grafel grips. Like,
Hmm.
no discussion about it. If I had
Yep.
bigger hands, I would probably use the lock grips that are, a bit the thicker ones or
Yeah,
something. You know what I mean? You got to fit it to your hand. I think that's what we're doing here. That's the objective.
of course. So yeah, it's just another options for the people to
Good.
to try on, and more money to spend. So
More money to spend. It's all good. It's all good. You go to the bensteggerproshop.com. Just order one of each set of grip on there, and yeah, then you can just kind of
find the
change
one
it
you like.
around. What's that?
Just find the one you like, and the
Yeah.
other one you can just put in the spare parts.
Yeah, exactly. That sounds like a very viable strategy for people, very cost effective as well. Definitely don't try other people's guns at matches and figure out which one fits. Definitely just
No,
buy everything.
and if you have like spare parts just laying around, you can just always buy another gun to fit them.
Makes sense to me.
Blown away,
Yeah.
indeed. All right,
Does that
dropping
sound good
knowledge.
to you, Joel?
Yeah, sounds awesome. Tim will love that advice.
No, what if I said just buy one of each, and then Tim will pay for the return shipping to send everything back to the pro shop? Like, that advice, he probably would. He'd be like, "You son of a bitch! God damn it! What are you doing?"
Plus, you got to overnight it because I'm impatient. I need to know if it works now.
Yes,
So
yes. Definitely send an email 6 o'clock at night on a Friday saying you need the shit on Monday. Like, definitely do that. That would be hilarious.
yes,
And order some dry fire targets while you're at it, but funky targets, not like normal ones, because then they have to cut them.
one of each different size. Also, I recommend.
The NRAs.
Oh, ways to fuck with Tim. I love it. Who'd like to go on? Joe, you want me to go?
Yeah,
All right.
do it.
So Mr. Joe wants me to talk about shooting a dot. So as the regular listeners know, the devoted listeners, our people, our peeps. As you guys know, I got a bunch of guns this year, and I'm hoping to get a bunch of guns next year, Sign me up for that too. Anyway, I did get a couple of Carry Optics guns. I got these plastic Tanfolio things with the dot that Kim told me to get on there, the Leopold ones. So been shooting those a little bit, and I have not. I mean, it's not like I haven't shot an open gun before. I've shot guns with dots on it before a little bit, but never really trained super hard with them. And now getting some time to train with a dot. Joel, you're curious about my observations on training with a dot and what that's going to do for your shooting, because I hear a lot of people. I mean, I think some of the dumbest advice you can give somebody is that you should start your USPSA career in open, because that's easiest. Something. Okay. I think that's terrible advice, but it is advice I hear thrown around a lot. I do hear talk about, hey, if you train with a dot, that's going to make you better with iron sights or help speed up your shooting, something like that. I don't hear many people saying you should shoot irons in order to get good with a dot, but apparently the reverse is true. So you're curious about observations on this?
Yes, please.
Okay.
What have you learned?
Yeah, so the thing I like about dot is you can see everything that your gun is doing more easily than with irons. So you see the path the gun takes in recoil pretty easily. You could kind of sort out your grip like that. Shot calling becomes easier because you're just looking at the position of the dot. But what I would say is like the problem that most people have that makes them slow is that they spend too much time aiming, whereas they're sort of over confirming everything. You know what I mean? So it's like you get your sights on a target and you kind of, there's a little pause where you're looking for more than you need to look for in order to make that shot. I don't think a dot fixes that, to be honest. Both with me and with other people, I haven't seen a dot fix that problem. It lets you see more stuff or get more information off the gun more quickly and more reliably. The reliability of the information from the dot is the big thing, where it's like, I can aim iron sights quickly, but with a dot, there's a lot less doubt about where exactly the gun's aimed. So when you're shooting a dot for that reason, to try and speed up your shooting, since it gives you information a little bit more quickly, but it's not really going to solve you looking for too much information problem. Does that make sense to you? Yes.
You're talking about like almost over aiming too much then, right? Keep continuing to refine the sight picture.
Yes. So for example, if I'm shooting a drill in 10 seconds with iron sights, I can put on my gun with a dot and I can shoot it in 9 seconds. So I think that I'm faster and better. But I'm not really. I just have a faster way to aim, especially when I'm shooting at longer targets. Okay? I might be over aiming, but I'll still over aim with either thing. Does that make sense to you? It doesn't really solve that problem.
Yes.
What you have to learn, I mean, with a dot gun, instead of shooting when you see the dot stopped and stable, a lot of times you're shooting, keeping the dot moving, or on the closer range targets, you just see a flash of red that doesn't even look like a dot. It looks like you're like, okay, that's enough, and I'm going to shoot with that. Okay, you still have to learn what it is you can get away with and push yourself to shoot right on the limit of what you can get away with visually. Okay, so I don't really think it solves that problem. What I do like about dots is that it leaves very little doubt, and you do call your shots really well. And I learned a little bit about trigger control shooting my gun with a dot on it, about how I was pulling the trigger, and if I'm pulling it a little sideways. Like, for example, I was pulling shots off to the right a little bit, which is kind of strange. Normally, for a right-handed shooter, you push them left. But I was pulling them right because I was pulling the trigger a little bit sideways. And I saw it happen. And then I walked down. I see the dot move that way. And I'm like, well, surely that's not the case, because that'd be strange. And I look at the target, and sure enough, there's a hole right where the dot was. And I'm like, And then I start to pay attention to how my hand feels when I'm shooting. I'm like, yeah, I'm pulling the shots a little bit that way. So I work on it and clean up my trigger control. But it doesn't fundamentally make you faster. You still have to program yourself to shoot right at the limit of what you're doing. Right? So I hope that makes sense. So my experience shooting a dot, I've learned a little bit. I thought it was interesting. I wouldn't tell you to go buy a dot gun for that reason. I mean, I think you learn and it's interesting. But buying any new gun and training with it, I mean, you're probably going to learn something if you're paying attention. That would be my what I would say for it.
But if you're looking to level up, buying a new gun with a dot is not like the way to level up with your gun you really care about. I don't want to put words in your mouth.
Yeah,
but you're saying like you'd be better off invested just to keep training with what you really want to be good with. Is that fair or no?
Yeah, probably, because it's not really going to knock it. It might knock something loose in terms of your thinking, but it's not going to push you to the next level. Nor like the normal pattern I see with people is they buy a gun with a dot, they continue shooting at the same pace, but they get a little more accurate, or maybe even a lot more accurate. And they they're like, oh, I'm better now. It's like, well, no, you're just shooting a dot, so you're seeing everything, and you're still shooting way too conservatively, and all you've done is shoot better points, and their match percentage is still quite low. You know what I mean? So it's like they don't really get any better. It's just the dot makes it easier to be accurate, so they're accurate, but they're not fast.
Everyone else has the dot in the division too, so it's not like you're the only one that's got this new ability. So
yeah, everybody is going to shoot a gun with a dot better.
Yeah, actually, I would see getting a dot on your gun, like production optic or carry optic, could be beneficial just as avoiding burnouts. If like you're tired of training like iron sights, you just put a dot on there and just have fun with it.
Absolutely. If you're bored, change divisions, whatever, like that is something. But the key thing is you're getting a thing, and that's a catalyst for more practice. It's not like
you're just gonna get motivated for something new.
It's not like there's anything inherent with the division change that makes you better. Like for me, like I've been shooting primarily limited in production this year. Like I've been going back and forth every match, and I shoot both guns pretty much every day. Hell, like the last classes I did, I would shoot one division the first half of the day, and the other division the second half of the day. I mean, every day.
Yeah.
And they're way more alike than they are different. You know what I mean? Like there's nothing really fundamentally different about any of it. But it's like if it's interesting to you that like, oh well, this one has more recoil, and this one has less bullets, like, ooh, fascinating. Like if that stuff's interesting, then you will be engaged with your practice to work on that stuff. Anyway, that's my take on it. I should say, I come at this from somebody who's got very, very good with iron sights and didn't really need the anything from a dot. It was just I shoot it sort of dispassionately, with just kind of seeing what I see.
Would you say in dry fire you kind of see more? Like I would say like
with a dot?
Trigger control. Yeah, the dot actually can tell you more about like
the iron sights tell you everything if you care to look. You know what I mean?
People usually they think they look, but they don't actually are honest with themselves.
The dot the dot crams it down your throat.
Yeah, it's not gonna lie.
The dots, the iron sight will tell you if you care to listen, and if you care to lie to yourself, that's a little easier to do.
Yeah.
A lot of people, I watch them dry fire, and you can see their front sight, blipping to the left every time they pull the trigger, and they're like, "Oh, that's just a little flicker," and you're just like,
Yeah. Put that target at 15 yards, and we'll see.
Yeah, you'll see what's happening there. All right, let's move on.
Good. All right. Appreciate you sharing.
Well, I love to share. Sharing is caring.
Yeah. All right. So this week in shooting is kind of this year in shooting. This year, as I've shot more major matches this year, I've tried to make a point to ask other people to. Let's start out with to get feedback. So most people are not going to give me unsolicited advice. If I'm shooting a match with, let's say, Ben.
I've got some advice for you, Joel.
Yeah. Ben's not just going to walk up like, hey, by the way, you really suck at trigger control. Your magazines are awful. Like, Ben's a nice guy, no matter how he pretends to be online. And so he would not just walk up and, would not just walk up and say, that's awful. So, especially major matches this year, squatting with people that I don't normally see or people I respect, to ask them, like, I wait till the second day. They've been watching me shoot for a while. It's like, while we're resetting targets, you're just standing around anyway, and they're not up getting ready to shoot or anything. It's just a comfortable time. You're BSing with guys in the squad. Just say, hey, what do you think of my shooting, or what would you pick out as things that I need to work on? Sometimes I've got feedback where it was stuff that I'm like, yeah, I've been working on that. I could definitely see that. Or they might pick out something that I hadn't even thought of being an issue, or it hadn't occurred to me, or I didn't realize I was doing. So that's been beneficial for me this year, just asking people, like, hey, what do you think? What do you think I need to work on? just another set of eyes for people that I don't normally see every month at my local club. So the other thing I've done is asking people how they train, just in conversation, or I've even driven a couple hours to train with a friend of mine that's very good, and just to go there and hang out and just I'll just do what you do, just train. What are you looking at? What's the purpose of this drill? What are you isolating? How many rounds are you firing? How often you pace? Just all that stuff, kind of taking it all in and just looking at how other people learn and what they found to be beneficial. And then there might be some of it that I'm like, well, that doesn't work for me. But there have been some things where I'm like, oh, I should take that back to my training. So just trying to get.
Can I throw one more thing out there?
Yes, please.
One thing that I find useful is to adopt somebody else's training style or do a drill and not even just listen to it, but like do it for some set period of time, like whether you think it's stupid or not. For real.
It. Yep. Yeah, that's what we did.
Yeah, so trying things is good.
Yeah, sometimes you just said, I would go to the range as well, and like some people would be training and they have some, practical shooting night where they set up stages and stuff. And sometimes like you show up there and like they put on useless stuff, like stuff you'll never see in a match, stuff that you never practice because it's useless. But sometimes, yeah, I've been just, you know what? Let's go with it, and I'll just do it as well. And it just changes things sometimes. I don't think it can hurt. Definitely not.
I'll even say one more thing along this lines. A lot of times I like to make other people, or not even make, just sort of let other people build a stage or something. Like, let's say I'm building a stage, and then some other people are out there putting up targets. I'll be like, yeah, just put them up however you like. Put the targets however you like. Even if they put them up in a way that I would never do, it makes no sense, it's totally stupid or whatever, just let them do it and then shoot it anyway. Just like let that situation happen and see what I learn from it or what I think about it. I don't think that's a bad thing to do.
No. I've also tried very hard not to be dismissive of anything they say, even if I think well, this doesn't really make sense. I still try to really, I already asked them for their opinion. Really, even if I don't think it might be true, really, what are they saying, or really try to apply it to my shooter, really think about what they're saying.
Yeah, like if you just put some pro grip on your balls before you shoot, it can seriously help. So try not to be dismissive of that, okay?
All right, then.
Shall we move on to today's email, which I think is super.
I can't wait to hear it.
All right, you guys haven't heard it yet. You don't know what's coming, but it's coming. Prepare yourselves. Devastating email. Hey, Ben, how's it going? I have a show topic that might be interesting for your podcast. Actually, it's more of a PSA. I know you don't give two shits about club matches, but I would guess that 90% of your listeners hardly ever shoot above level 1 matches, so it might be of interest to them. It's like, how dare you, sir? I like club matches. Anyway, here in SoCal, we have self-RO'd, open squatting clusterfuck matches with cheating and safety issues galore. Some of the issues: reshoots given for equipment malfunctions, usually PCC, missed draws, or forgetting to load mags, etc. Blatant 180 breaks and other safety violations overlooked and or forgiven. Starting positions not enforced. Example, hands relaxed at sides becomes hands inches from gun and creeping closer until the beep. Idiots crawling all over the stages before their squad is up and another squad is still shooting. These fools can't seem to grasp that giving reshoots for the above reasons is a form of cheating. They don't get that until you DQ a repeat safety offender. He will not take the rules seriously or learn to handle his gun the way USPSA is deemed safe. They think ROing is just running the timer and don't pay attention to anything else. Foot faults, finger on the trigger while moving, the 180, etc. Having a working gun, loading your mags before a stage, not pointing it or shooting it uprange, obeying the start position, staying in the fault lines, etc. are part of the game. They aren't mere suggestions. Learn these fools, Ben. For some reason, they listen to you. Just redact my name if you do use the topic. I redact all the names from all the topics. Fuck. It makes me want to put his name out there just when he said that. But I would never. All right, guys. Any reaction to that email?
Well, I mean, it
Wow.
reminds me. It reminds me your when you talked about in Canada the black badge course,
Hmm.
where you before like you can start competing, you need to take that safety course. Uh, I think that's that's right on. Like
Oh, well, I
there's
should tell you,
this,
this is not
but
just
there
about safety.
no like there's this. There's like more qualified ROs. Just
Do you do you guys
the whole
understand what
self RO.
do you understand what open squatting is?
Oh yeah, you just show up and you just shoot it, and everyone and like interpret, is that a word? They just understand the shooting walkthrough thing
Yeah.
just like they want it. It's just I guess I mean on the shooting, I don't know what's the term
We
like
call that a
the
free for all, is what I'm thinking. The
It
way
is.
that
It
yeah
is
comes
kind
to
of
well
a free
mind.
for all. I know many,
Yeah.
like, this is kind of a thing in Southern California. And I know many people that just stop shooting matches for that reason.
yeah well it's a shit show. Like it needs to be supervised or at least have like clear procedures on like the starting position.
They do
Have
have
like a
clear
picture.
procedures written down.
So the people just don't give a shit.
That I think that would be more kind of what I hear about this back channel. Like I'm not in SoCal. I don't give a shit. I don't really care about this. But down there, it's like I would probably be very pissed off shooting club matches. It'd be like
Hmm?
some group goes and shoots a stage and it's like basically I don't trust any of the results. Like I don't trust it.
Well then, can't you have like staff working like the open squatting? I don't think there's a problem with that, but just have like assigned ROs that run the stages. Is that doable?
No, well, I mean they don't have any such ROs typically.
Okay, well,
And at the clubs that do this, some people really like it because if you turn up early and you just burn through the match, you can be out of there real quick.
yeah, yeah.
Right.
I mean, it's not all bad. It's not all a bad situation.
I like the concept for sure, but it's like you can't trust everyone.
I don't trust anyone. I'll even go further. There's a lot of people that do very, very well at their home club or in their own region. And it's like they go to major matches and,
Yeah.
some miss that turns into a double at their club match is now a miss. Like
Or they start breaking 180. Yeah.
yes, behavior that is okay at their club is now not okay, and they have a lot of problems. Whereas I
Yeah.
like that at major matches because running the match above board and fair is good, in my opinion. Like, and that's good for me, you know, because
Yes.
I'm not a maniac, so having the match be run above board and fair is good. But at people's own clubs, like there's guys I've squatted with where it's like I don't know, man. He must get away with murder at his home club just to act like this, trying to get three doubles in the same match, even with me making fun of him the whole time. Like
Wow.
I don't know, like that must be a totally different set of standards at his club. Where you mean
Yep.
those, you would think that those are so. It's interesting. I'm sorry, Joel. What do you have to say about this?
I would think leadership at that club would step in, realize they have a problem, and take steps to fix it. Is the way I would think of it. Because obviously they built this behavior where everyone thinks it's okay. So if you had management leadership at that club step in, or you had for a while ROs set to a stage or whatever, you would set a expectations for behavior, expectations for what is and is not okay, and if they don't like it, then they'll get DQ'd, get their misses, or, they won't come back, I guess, which would hopefully not be the outcome. But I think setting expectations would be a lot of it. If I was in that situation and that club match was not going to get fixed, I would just go practice somewhere else instead. But like it's unsafe if they're having safety issues, and I don't know. But maybe that's just their perception, as that's the way USPSA is ran. So
It
possibly
is. I
so
actually,
go ahead.
I was on site once when some guys at nationals were using their car as a safe area, and I was like, hey, I wasn't involved in the thing, but it was like those guys using their car as a safe area, and a couple people said, hey, you can't do that. Like somebody's going to come DQ you, and they're like, no, this is fine. We do this at our club. And it's like, do I really care that they're using their car as a safe area? No, I do not. But that's going to get them in trouble at the match. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, is that unsafe? I mean, if they're pointing the gun at the Crown by their own car, I guess like it's very unlikely anything bad will happen. Sure. But that's not what USPSA rules are. USPSA rules are for like any random dipshit that you don't know shows up to a match. Like we have procedures, so you can, you just, if you don't trust the people around you, you have all these rules in place. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. So they were warned, and sure enough, I think Troy came by and saw him.
Tell me how this story ends.
I think you know how it ends. But it's like, just imagine the culture where it's like some guys are using their car as a safe area. Other people tell them not to do that. They continue doing that and then get DQ'd. Like a couple days later after being warned. And they're like, no, it's fine. Like, I just imagine what's going on at their club.
If they're going to nationals, then obviously they care.
Yes.
It's not just a casual hobby. So
yes.
I would say the leadership at that club is doing them a disservice by not enforcing the rules. And that's part of what I like about USPSA. I've got a friend that lives in Memphis that I go visit. So when I go there, I automatically, it doesn't matter if I've been to their club or not, I automatically know the rules. I know how I'm expected to behave. Like, I go to his club, and I automatically know what's going to be expected of me, how the rules are, all that stuff. That's why you shoot USPSA. So if they're not teaching that to their guys, they're doing them a disservice.
And the other thing is, the other side of the deal is, if you don't like USPSA rules, as many people don't, if you don't like, hey, I think it ought to be done this way, or this is what I think it should be like, and you don't like USPSA rules, don't try to run a USPSA match. Just be like, okay, if it's Joe Bob's tactical shoot, then I won't show up because I won't go onto the Joe Bob Tactical Shooting Association website to look for it. I would look for a USPSA or IPSC match. So I won't go and be pissed off, and you won't have Joel showing up like expecting a certain procedure, a certain way to do things. So it's actually better for everybody if you don't want to do USPSA, like, that's cool. Just do your own thing. But when you
go to an outlaw match and expect to get treated like an outlaw, right?
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly so. Well, anything else to say about this, guys? Pretty good email, right?
Yeah. Hopefully they get it turned around, because that sucks.
I don't think so. I've been hearing the same shit about Southern California forever.
Well, the people that are in charge of that club have to realize
it's
an
not
issue.
One club.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that sucks.
That does suck.
It's like, I don't know. I'm not around to shoot matches there, but I hear the same thing from a lot of people. And like I said, there's other sides to it too. Like, you get through matches really quickly. They have tons of club matches there, tons of shooters. It's just, I don't know about the results. I don't know. Anyway.
It's like, no, but like it reminds me, it's like the same thing we sometimes at our club, like we run like level 1, level 2 matches, and mostly level 1s. And at one point there's going to be an RO that's going to show up and it's going to check all the gear, like all the belt and like distance from the belt and mag patches and stuff and trigger pull. And you're like, well, calm the fuck down. It's only a level 1. Who cares? Yeah, but like, exactly. He's doing it because later on we're going to be shooting like a level 4, level 3 match, and they're going to check it. And if you don't comply, you're going to be like, well, you won't be able to say I was fine at my home club. It's just like you need to check that thing, like these stuff. Otherwise, you're going to go to a major match and you're going to be pretty surprised. Same thing with safety angles and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That shit needs to be enforced. But yeah.
It does.
Anyways.
Well, that's all I got.
Yeah.
Thank you, gentlemen, so much for coming on. Alex, Joel, I do appreciate it. Listeners, if you have a question you'd like the answer to, you need your club to get straightened out, don't email me. email USPSA. But if you want to email, like, and have me read your bullshit on the air if it's amusing, if it gives me some laughs, I will read it. So go to benstigger.com, send me your email. Love to hear from you. All right.